Very good morning. Very warm welcome to all of you to today's session. We are going to start the session soon. We will start the session with a prayer. I request Sri Rangachari ji to hold the prayer, please.
Thank you. Gajavadana Karuna Sadhana Gajavadana Karuna Sadhana Sri Gajavadana Karuna Sadhana Sri Gajavadana Karuna Sadhana Gajavadana Karuna Sadhana Lambodara Sundara Gajavadana Karuna Sadhana Shankara Bhala Lambodara Sundara Gajavadana Karuna Sadhana Ajanamarendranu Munivarum Paniyum Ajanamarendranu Munivarum Paniyum Ajanamarendranu Munivarum Paniyum Pankaja Charana Pankaja Charana Sharanam Sharanam Pankaja Charana Sharanam Sharanam Gajavadana Karuna Sadhana Niye Mulagir Adarum Niye Mulagir Adarum Niye Shivagama Mantrasarum Niye Mulagir Adarum Niye Shivagama Mantrasarum Niye Varvilal Jivadarum Niye Varvilal Jivadarum Niye Varvilal Jivadarum Ni Arulvai Sumuga Ni Arulvai Sumuga Onkara Ni Arulvai Sumuga Onkara Gajavadana Karuna Sadhana Gajavadana Karuna Sadhana Shankara Bala Lambodara Sundara Gajavadana Karuna Sadhana Manikyavinam Ubanalayanti Madalasam Manchulavagvilasam Mahendra Neelatudi Komalangim Matanga Kankyam Manasa Smaravi Chaturbuje Chandrakalau Avadham Se Kuchonnate Kunkumaragasone Puntreshu Pasanguza Pushpapana Haste नमस्ते जगदेक मातः नमस्ते जगदेक मातः. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. You created a very positive vibration, and it's a wonderful start of this session. Thank you. Now, I take this opportunity to introduce speakers of the day. First session would be of Dr. M. Anjaneyulu. He is our controller of examination. He is professionally he is retired from Indian Civil Services. He's an officer in the Indian Defense Account Services. He held very prominent positions in the during his services, service of 35 years, and he is also he also has a doctorate in the field of astrology. So he has done a extensive research in the on Big Bang theory in light of Sanskrit scripture. He has a doctorate on that topic from University Kanchipuram. He also authored several books. The prominent one is Law of Nature. All of you would have gone through, and Timing of Marriage and Marriage Matching is another book which is very widely read by the students and astrological fraternity. He served in different places across India during his professional tenure. So during those tenure, he served different chapters. He also started a couple of chapter of ICAS. So he is instrumental in establishing Vizag chapter, and as well he greatly supported the Kolkata chapter. Not only those chapters, he is supportive in all the functionalities. He is heading the examination functionality of ICAS. So with this brief introduction, I will move on to the introduction of Dr. Maya Singh, who will be the another speaker of the day. Maya Singh is a Jyotish Vachaspati, and she has 10 years of teaching experience. She holds a doctorate for this in astrology as well. She is currently a vice chapter chairperson of Patna chapter. Today she will speak on autism, an astrological explanation for the autism. Now I request Dr. Anjaneyulu sir to deliver the speech on marriage, comprehensive overview. Anjaneyulu sir,
Yeah, thank you
warm
very
welcome.
much for beautiful introduction by Vishwanath sir, and I'm very happy to be associated with the Indian Council of Astrological Sciences. So I'm very much thankful for giving me for getting this opportunity by the ICAS to interact with all you people. Thanks at the beginning. Let me start with my talk. Maybe I will not exceed the time allotted to me, and I'll try to give you as much as possible well within the time frame what I could able to deliver and what I know a little. That is my perception. I start with one simple sloka, that is Sadasiva Samarambam Sri Shankaracharya Majjhamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Gurum Paramparam. Vande Gurum Param. This is with my salutation with my all gurus. The Rangachari Sahib is my first guru when I started learning astrology in Bharati Vidya Bhavan years back, and we still continue. And thank you very much, sir, for a beautiful rendition of invocation song. And with this inspiration, we'll proceed to today's the various concepts of the topics which has been listed. Before I would like to start, I'll just take few minutes of a generic introduction of my PhD in astronomy, specifically astronomy with reference to the astrology. astronomy purportedly with reference to the Vedic concepts and the spiritual concept as scriptural concepts. That's Big Bang theory is one theory which has been enunciated and accepted by all scientific fraternity as the starting point of the universe. Universe came into existence with explosion. With that explosion, when it is expanding, the galaxies, the stars have formed out of the galaxies and stars. Our galaxies, mother galaxies, your Akash Ganga. In Akash Ganga, sun is one speck, one star. Along that sun, we have our solar system with 9 planets. Out of the 9 planets, Earth is the third planet which has the life as of now known to us. And from Earth, we are the living creatures in the entire universe. Possibly, the universe will come to an end with a Big Bang once again, or Big Crunch once again, and this cycle goes. As far as our Vedic concepts are concerned, the entire universe came from nothing, goes to nothing. Nasadich Suktam. The other one is Mahabhagavatam. The Lord Krishna told that the entire universe is in the form of a garland in his neck, and we are all the specks, and there are thousands and millions of universes available. Our universe is one simple universe in the thousands and millions of universe. These are the comparisons which are going on. As of now, what I would like to say that we are in Akasha Ganga, Milky Way, that is a galaxy. In that galaxy, sun is one small speck of a star. With the sun, we have third planet revolving around this sun, becomes solar system, and that is our address as far as we are concerned in the universe as of now. With this few introduction, from here, the various gravitational forces embedded in the universe are the bedrock of evolution and the bedrock of your entire astrological evolution. What you see, if you're able to spot one simple gravitational force in a horoscope, you are a great successful astrologer today. So try to get that particular attractions available in the horoscope, which is nothing but placement of various grahas in that particular horoscope, which has been done with the 360 degrees, divided by 12 segments and 27 stars. With this primary introduction of astrology, I would like to move to the marriage time. As far as the Big Bang theory and comparison, we will talk some other time. Where most of the time I have given most of the people, but if somebody is interested, we'll take separate session and try to see that thing. Right now, the topic allotted to me is the marriage time and matching of horoscopes. With this thing, do you have any primary doubts? I'll just give you 2 minutes or half a minute, which you can able to express yourself, and otherwise I'll be going into the topic. Clear? My topic is marriage time and matching of horoscopes. Marriage time, time of marriage, and second one is how to match the horoscope is the broad hint. Now, take for a minute and see, as per Hindu Marriage Act, we have an act where marriage system has been codified and an act has been given. Section 5 of the Marriage Act of 1955, which has been amended subsequently several times, has put primary 3 conditions for marriage. First one, neither party has a spouse living at the time of marriage. I am talking about today's common sense. The second one, at the time of marriage, neither party is capable of giving a valid consent to the consequences of unsound mind. Means if somebody is mad, he is not eligible to become married. Though capable of giving valid consent, has been suffering from mental disorders. A person who has a mental disorder is not eligible to become a party in the marriage. As subjected to the recurrent insanity or epilepsy. These are the conditions which one has to fulfill to become eligible to become married as per Hindu Marriage Act. This fundamental concept of the Marriage Act has to be understood by each and everyone. Clear? Now, the next one is how do you take the predicting the marriage time? Marriage time, you need to see very carefully and assess in the socio-religious conditions of our society. I'm basically going to talk about Indian marriage system, and by and large, some of the concepts are available, some of the concepts are applicable to all the people across the human community. They may be any part belong to any religion. But when you talk about the marriage time, broad hints, the marriage completely looks at it, not only the marriage, it has a various other components subdivided. That is Mangal dosha, that is Kuja Yoga, what we call them. Then timing of marriage through Vimsotri Dasha or any Dasha system. Then after Dasha, you have a broad principles of transits. Transits are the natural consequences which has to be seen. Then how to use the annual horoscopy in the timing of the event. Now I always see when you want to predict anything, you need to see the basics of the horoscope. Basics of the horoscope is basically look at various types of marriages which the ancient time our maharishis have been, our sages have been codified. There are Brahma, Daiva, Arsa, Prajapatya, Gandharva, Asura, Rakshasa, Paishachika. And most of the thing what is available today is most of the thing Gandharva Viva, Asura Viva, Rakshasa Viva, Paishachika Viva. And accepted concept as of now, you see Rakshasa means somebody takes forcefully and do marriage. Somebody, Paishachika means somebody do on his own or on her own, without involving much of the credentials of the marriage system. Now, in the present day, when you look at it, all this marriage system in one form or other are available in our society. But as of now, accepted marriage is love marriage, love come arranged marriage. All things fit in the Brahma, Daiva, Arsha, or Prajapatya, Gandharva. All these things fit in one form or other, or something overlapping here and there. Now, with this basic concept, let us see the next one. Uh, Next slide, please. This is what I'm going to cover: broad hints of timing of marriage, concept of Mangala dosha, timing of marriage, transit principles, importance of annual horoscopy. These things which I'm going to cover in the next 30 minutes. Now, what are the various astrological principles involved in the marriage? There are so many astrological principles. As an astrologer, one has to see astrological considerations. The first one is the longevity of the partners, male and female. As an astrologer, you should see the longevity of the partners. Without having the longevity, simply matching the horoscope, getting the marriage done is futile. As a known astrologer, one should see the longevity of the partners. Then once you establish the longevity is available, middle life, long life, whatever it is, the strength of the seventh and eighth houses, the strength of the seventh and eighth houses has to be established by an astrologer with his known astrological principles. Then the last one is matching of quotas between two partners. What is happening today in the present concept, present way of making the things, because of the computers coming in, fatafat they put the quotas and make the points out of 36. Somebody is not getting, they'll reject the match, which is totally incorrect as a known astrologer. If you know a little bit of astrology, simply looking at the quotas and rejecting or accepting a marriage is a futile exercise. The concept of quotas is only in the total matching of the horoscopes of the marriage making is only one third of the total activity. The main activities, both the horoscopes will match. Natal horoscopic principles has to be seen very clearly. Once you see the natal horoscopic principles, then the longevity and the strength of sixth and seventh and eighth houses. This is the next one which has to be seen very clearly. Then only comes to the other aspects. While you are looking at the marriage, natal horoscopic principles, fundamental principles, our 12 houses are divided into four categories: Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Dharma 157, Artha 267, 2610, Kama 3711, Moksha 4812. These houses, in its proper way, should be analyzed and seen in such a way that whether the horoscopes of both boy and girl matches the each other compatibility, whether they go together, otherwise they're going to be repulsive actions. Now, while you are doing this thing, Sage Parasara has laid down certain principles what an astrologer to do. Now, while you are doing this thing, the astrologer himself or herself has to get up and do certain primary duties. That's the first one. Get up in the morning and attend all natural calls. Pray God has a knowledge of the day. What is that day? Observe omens while you are practicing. Natural omens will give you an indication. Means women, you should know the basics of women, and then complete analysis of the horoscope, natal principles, dacha pattern, yogas, and matching. Everything has to be seen before he opens up anything in the process of marriage making or marriage timing or fixing the marriage, whatever it is. He should be able to work out all those things. Then only he can able to see rightfully the right ways. Then the next stage of broad astrological principle, while you are going through all these things, longevity with the partners involved, physical and mental compatibility, psychological compatibility, that is moon status, the strength of seventh and eighth house, the malefic factors and antidotes, and the agreement of quotas. These are the broad categories. How do you analyze a horoscope and come to the final conclusion? Now let us see natal horoscopic tendencies a little bit more in a more systematic way with reference to the marriage. Natal horoscope principles, after seeing this general horoscope, you should be able to see the seventh house from Lagna, seventh house from Moon, seventh house from Sun, seventh house from Venus has to be seen very clearly. Means if the seventh house and seventh house lord is well disposited with well PAC position aspect conjunction, the marriage happiness to the native is ensured. Means if the seventh house is well placed with benefics, then seventh lord is well placed with the benefic aspect from Lagna, then from the moon, then from the sun. It means the native will have marital happiness in his life. This first fundamental natal horoscopic principle means when you are looking from Lagna, when you are looking from moon, when you are looking from sun, you are combining and looking at the horoscope, the concept what is called as Sudarshan Chakra. Sudarshan Chakra, Sage Parasara has envisaged it. Means you can't simply come to a jumping conclusion by seeing Lagna itself and Lagna as a seventh house and try to come to a comparison. No, all the three Lagnas has to be given very clearly. Lagnas and Lagna lords, seventh house and seventh house lords. Now, next important natal horoscopic principle is the Karakas. The Karakas for seventh house, Venus, placement of Venus, its influence, its association, its conjunction. If Venus is aspected by malefic planets, you should be able to see the Karaka issue is stumbled. In the same way, if Venus is with Rahu, Venus is with Ketu, Venus is with Sun, Venus is with Mars, Saturn, like that, you should be able to take those considerations. Means the Karaka principle in the horoscope has to be seen. Now, once you completed up to this point, next one is the importance of divisional chart. The divisional charts appropriately to be seen here. is a Navamsha chart, D9, D9 Lagna, D9 seventh house, seventh lord. D9 Lagna is equivalent to seventh house of the Rasi chart. You should be able to see from that angle whether the Navamsha also gives the same credentials as that of Rasi chart. Hope that basic natal horoscopic analysis I made it very clear. Now the next one which you should see, the Saptamamsha and D60 also for the strength of that particular each planet. You should be able to establish that thing. Now by seeing all these things, somebody will say, what is the utility of Sadbala? What is the utility of Astaka Varga? You should be able to see these two also, Shadbalas with reference to the seventh lord, with reference to the Lagna lord, with reference to the D9 chart, and what is the placement of Sarvastaka Varga points in the seventh house from Lagna, seventh house from Moon, seventh house from Sun. These will give you a comprehensive overlook of marital status, marriage happiness with reference to the boy or girl. Hope that basic fundamental first analysis of the horoscope in these angles one should see a person knows a little bit of astrology could able to see, and by seeing this thing he will come to know, he will assess the strength and weaknesses of the both horoscopes. Hope I have made it very clear. Now next stage, first stage, you have completely seen the basic natal horoscopic tendencies, what I call them, the analysis of the horoscope in its entirety is called your bank balance, which you brought from the previous janma, and that is available to you. And how much you are going to draw from the bank balance is the dasha sequence, mahadasha sequence, antardasha sequence, and prachantar dasha sequence. First stage of analysis of the marriage, natal horoscopic principles and its analysis is from that angle. Second one is role of Mahadasha Lord. Now, in our analysis, most of the time we follow Vimshotri Dasha system of 120 years, which is an accepted system. And there the Mahadasha Lord and the role of Mahadasha Lord, role of Antardasha Lord, role of Prachantar Dasha Lord has to be seen. Now, with this thing, you should link what are the yogas available in the horoscope which are going to be fructified at the appropriate time of Mahadasha operating, Antardasha operating, Prachantar Dasha operating. That is, you should able to see and broadly classify yourself what is the marriageable age for a particular person, for a particular male, for a particular female, and try to put your Mahadasha, Antardasha sequence of Vimshotari, put it as a classified version of the age, right from the starting of 0 years to the 120 years. In that you should be able to select the primary age, the acceptable age of the marriage for a boy and girl. Now, as for the Hindu Marriage Act, the act prescribes certain minimum age for the marriage. That's number one, 18 years, 21 years, or change to 21, 21 to 22, 24. That is the primary. But when you look back in the old system of the Vedic system, there were child marriages. How do you see the child marriages? There were later on it has moved to the other marriages. Now you should be able to see basically what is prevalent at that particular point of time in that particular society, and see from that point of view and try to give your prediction. Desha Kala, time and country, place, based on that thing you should predict. That's the fundamentals of astrological principles an astrologer should know. From that angle he will come to know broad timing of the marriage. Now how do you time the marriage? Mahadasha Lord, seventh house Lord, Lagna Lord, fifth house Lord, ninth house Lord, these things to be seen. Why all these things? Seventh house Lord will give you the natural significations of the marriage. Same way, the seventh lord of from moon also will indicate. So when these lords are operating their Mahadasha, Antardasha, you should able to pick up the point and able to broadly decide what are the probable years, 3 4 years, what are the probable years of the marriage of the boy and the girl. You will come to a conclusion, a broad parameter. You come to know from this particular year, these two horoscopes or these two things are going to have marital happiness. Once you come to know a broad conclusion of this 3 4 years segment of broad marriage time, you should be able to further subdivide into sub periods. That is called Antardasha, and Pratyantardasha will specifically tell you the characteristics of the marriage when it is going to happen. No, Antardasha and the Vinshotradasha system will by and large for any Mahadasha cuts into 2 years to 3.5 years maximum. So that period you identify. When you identify that period with reference to seventh lord from Lagna, seventh lord from the moon, seventh lord from sun, you will come to know the Antardasha. Now, the next important thing is the role of Prachantra Dasha Lord. The role of Prachantra Dasha Lord is very, very important in timing of an event, because he is the person who is going to deliver the results on that particular month or day. You should be able to see the role of Prachantra Dasha Lord in giving marriage. These will give you a clear cut time frame for the marriage. If somebody is more interested, they can further divide into 3 to 4 years. Each year, a particular annual horoscope. The annual horoscope will indicate the month and period when the marriage is going to happen. How do you see the annual horoscope? The annual horoscope Lagna, annual horoscope seventh lord, then Muddha Dasha put together, and the year lord of that particular annual chart will indicate that particular year, and a relation between Lagna Lord and seventh Lord of the annual horoscope will give you an indication. And yogas of the annual horoscope will also tell you Itasala yoga forming means that is going to happen in the next 2 or 3 months time duration of the marriage. Then Sahams, utility of Sahams, marriage Saham. Marriage Saham is very positive, will give you the marriage Saham Lord at the exact time of a month or so when this is going to happen. By using all these principles, you will come to know broadly when the marriage is going to happen, which is year, or which is the 6 monthly period, or which is the 3 monthly period where the individuals are going to get married. This how you can broadly come for timing of a marriage. I hope that I made it very clear. Next concept is very, very important, the transiting principles will give you when the exact event of marriage is going to take place, especially the transiting Saturn, the transiting Jupiter, the transiting Mars should indicate positively the happiness of marriage to be celebrated. These are the indications. The Saturn, while transiting in 2.5 years, 3 years in a particular house, should trigger the seventh house, seventh lord from Lagna, from moon, from sun. He has to trigger the seventh house or seventh lord from this thing. In the same way, the transiting Jupiter will take 1 year to transit one house. The transiting Jupiter should trigger seventh house, seventh lord from Lagna, from moon, or from sun. In most of the cases, I'm repeating, in most of the cases, all these principles will be applied 90%. In certain cases, there may be aberration that singly or multiply they can interact. For example, singly means Jupiter straight away influencing the seventh house or seventh lord. That itself is the greatest ticket for the marriage. In the same way, Saturn, he might have cleared and gone. For example, Saturn while transiting, they become retrograde. Jupiter also become retrograde. When they become retrograde, they bless the house and go away. Now that blessing period itself will take you 3 months this side, 3 months the other side. For the Jupiter, 2 months this side, the 2 months other side. Means by and large, when marriage is going to happen, these planets while transiting should bless the seventh house and seventh lord. If these are not going to be blessed, the marriage, though fixed, will be delayed. By the time where these planets are going to bless the seventh house and seventh lord of the both boy and girl. That's how you could able to analyze the horoscope in its precision when you follow the basics of the principles, whatever I just explained to you. You will be, I am damn sure that you will be 100% successful in predicting the correct time of the marriage well within a period of 3 months. Then you are the greatest successful astrologer in Kali Yuga. I hope that you are doing it, you will be practicing it. When you practice this thing, practice it in a rightful way and look at it, and you will definitely get into the system rightfully. That's how you can see the importance. First, I told you the understanding of the natal horoscopic principles are your bank balance. Now, whatever I explained in Dasha pattern, the principles of Dasha pattern is your checkbook, your check, which you are going to draw. When are you going to draw? The transit principles are your check signing authority. When you sign the check, you get the money. That is the transit principles. The transit principles deliver the results to you. That's how you should be able to see the horoscope in its proper perspective in a rightful way to the right direction. And whenever you get any doubt, we have one more concept, superimposing one more dasha onto the Vimshotri dasha system. For example, we teach you so many dasha systems in your Visharda, Pravina 1 also, Yogini dasha, Gemini dashas, Kala Chakra dasha. You should be able to take one more dasha and try to analyze and superimpose that thing on the Vimshotri dasha and try to see when it is commonality is happening. Now somebody will come and ask me, sir, these two dashas are showing two different angles. How do you compromise? How do you compare these things and come to a broad conclusion? You should be able to see the dashas in a right perspective and with reference to the seventh house lord, its perspective and its transit principles in the perspective, you will definitely get an indication from both dashas when the marriage is going to happen. If some dasha lord is not going to be favorable and the other dasha lord is favorable, you should try to see and balance between the two and try to eliminate as far as possible what are the negative factors, what are the positive factors, and can come to a broad timing of the marriage. That's how you can time the marriage in a particular horoscope and try to see its impact. Now, while analyzing all these things, I have already told you various houses involved. Predominantly, you should see first house, second house. Why first house? Physically, you should be fit. Second house, there should be happiness, the money with the family. And the fourth house and fifth house. Fourth house is the domestic comfort. Fifth house is your children. Everything. Seventh house and eighth house, their longevity, their unhappiness, the weakness, ill health, everything. 12th house is basically bed comforts and its impact and the importance of Navamsha and Saptamamsha. Then these are the things. If these things are looking at it while you are looking at it, the role of Rahu Ketu, I have not explained to you. Role of Rahu Ketu is very, very important in deciding the marriage. Any association of Rahu Ketu with seventh lord, seventh house, either way, will make the marriage untraditional. Untraditional means intercaste marriage or troubles while proceeding towards marriage or different types of things will come. There will be untraditionality if the role if the Rahu and Ketu are associated with 7th house and 7th lord. So this should be seen, and when their association is there, means there is an affliction to the 7th house and 7th lord. So there will be definitely certain issues in the marriage. Now, why I said this thing? Now you see, any marriage, there are certain problems involved. The elders will slowly solve the problems and try to match the various things from various parties and try to bring the two parties to a particular place to have the marriage. The good points, their bad points, all together put together will make you. Depending upon the association of the malefic planets with 7th house and 7th lord, the nature of the marriage, the nature of the living, nature of the issues involved, one can see very clearly. Now, this is as far as the placement of various issues are concerned. Next slide, placement of Mars. Very important concept when we are going to see. Most of the time, Mangala Dosha, Mangala Yoga we talk. And predominantly, most of the people use this particular concept in a negative way. Why I say, whenever you come to a horoscope to you, either you see the quotas or you see the Mangala Dosha and try to reject or accept it. Now, let us understand what is Mangal Dosha first, number one. When you understand Mangal Dosha, it will come. Mars is basically significant of energy. When the energy is in excess flow, beyond control, there will be definitely certain things defective. The placement of Mars in various houses, either from Lagna or from Moon or from Venus, it goes as Mangala Dosha. For example, in first house, second house, fourth house, seventh house, eighth house, and 12th house. You're talking about Lagna, Moon, and Venus. It means everybody will get Mangal Dosha. I don't foresee any Mangal Dosha is not available in any horoscope. Well, you see all these houses and all these angles when you look at it. So it is a natural phenomena in the horoscope, because without energy of Mars, the life itself is dull. So it has to be there. But there are certain nullifying factors where our ancestors are stored with their experience and codified those rules. These nullifying factors, antidotes for Mangal Dosha, most of the time people will not see. Simple thing I will tell you. If Mars is aspected by benefic, Mangal Dosha is cancelled. If Mars is associated with benefics, cancelled. Like that, there are so many positive characters, positions of the planets with reference to the Mars, with reference to the Lagna, with reference to the Moon, the Mangala Dosha is nullified, cancelled. So in most of the cases, Mangala Dosha is though prevalent, is cancelled. So that nullification factors of Mangala Dosha or Mangala Yoga, we call them Mangala Yoga. This has to be seen, and finally you should be able to take a conclusion. Now, I would like to give you with my own experience very beautiful explanation for you. If Mars is associated from Moon and Venus together in one form or other, then you can expect some problems, really some problems in the marriage. But if these are aspected by benefic planets like Jupiter, Jupiter glancing on these things will sprinkle Ganga Jal on this thing, means there is a positiveness. You should be able to see from that angle and try to see the impact of Mangala Dosha. The more other one more important thing what most of the astrologers see, if the boy is having a Mangala Dosha, try to find out a Mangala Dosha god. What is this without understanding? Find out from here, find out from there. I am telling you, every horoscope will have some Mangal Dosha. Why do you look at from that angle? You see the benefic points, positive aspect of that Mangala Dosha, and try to see when these are not coinciding each other. The greatest skill of matching horoscopes is mismatch the issues between male and female, because two male and female are physiologically different. So you should be able to mismatch the horoscopes. Mismatch the horoscope means when a boy is running very hard time, at the same time the girl should not run hard time. For example, if the boy is running Sade Sati, middle point of moon, midpoint of moon, same thing should not happen to the girl also. If the girl happens, both will fight. So a person who is running Mangala dosha, male is running Sade Sati, the girl should not have the Sade Sati at the same time. That's why people say don't marry boy and girl with having the similar Janma Nakshatra. Janma Nakshatra is the base point for your Sade Sati. So both should not run the difficult period at the same time so that they broke away. If one is running bad period, the other person should be able to console. You should be able to see, mismatch it, Sade Sati. Mismatch the difficult dashas, antar dashas, so that you can able to derive the positiveness of possessiveness between male and female, and you could able to see the right choice, right way of matching. That's why Indian marriage system, because of all these things, is surviving, has survived, is going to survive with a rightful way, with a rightful thought process, with anybody commenting on this thing. It's fine, no problem. It has been survived, it will be surviving. So while you are analyzing a Mangal dosha, you should be able to see these nullifying characters and try to work out in a particular system. Now, basically, Mangal dosha, what this is, it will give you marital problems, basically, delays, hurdles, misunderstandings, obstacles, fights, mental and physical traumas. These are next slide, I think. You can go to the next slide, please. These are the normal life. Life will not be a rows of beds always. Bed of roses. It will have all these things. But if these things are acceptable, permissible levels, things will move. That's why one should be able to see what is the intensity of Mangal dosha in both parties, both male and female. Once you match this thing, these things can be reduced and mismatched so that one can look at it a happy marital life. The last one which I would like to come to comment on the quotas Gana match, which has been misused very badly, very badly, and there are basically Ashtakota match or Dashakotas. People will follow so many things, but by and large, most of things Ashtakota match Varna, Vashya, Tara, Yoni, Gramaitri, Ganamaitri, Rasi, and Nadi. There are 36 points which has been enlisted there. 36 points has been enlisted there out of all the Nadi system. Now, why this has come to us, and why we are looking from this angle, and why this has been very much misused, has to be seen in its right perspective. I would like to explain now a minute more on this, basically, particularly on this thing. The reason is, for any common man or any person who doesn't know much of astrology, it becomes easy to come to a conclusion on this particular simple matrix of 36 points. All these things will give you 36 points. Out of 36, if somebody gets 18 points, he is matched. Now, after hearing me all these last 30 minutes or 35 minutes, do you accept that this gunas of 36 which has been given you will play predominant role in the marriage? Certainly not. But this also one consideration, because some of the points which has been enlisted here are become part and parcel of natal horoscopic analysis. When you see the natal horoscopic analysis, it will come Graha Maitri. Graha Maitri is nothing but planets between the boy and girl should be positively placed so that they will have a friendly disposition to each other. Like that, each one has been given. And while seeing without knowing into the various physiological and philosophical concepts involved in this Ashtakota, people will only say 36 का ऊपर 18 आए तो match कर दो. which I am telling you totally obnoxiously misused concept of today, the known unknown astrologers. I completely won't subscribe the matching of horoscopes with quotas. Quotas is only one part of matching the horoscopes. Only one part. It has only 30% of the points which has been enlisted. So with the 30% of the points you want to put the marriage together. You are putting the marriage into the dustbin. So never ever known scholars, known astrologers will never do that thing. We'll use the quotas matching one concept as one point in the broader analysis the entire horoscope and try to see if somebody gets 36 points out of 36 points, if somebody gets even 15, 14, 13, 17, if other factors are matching, is accepted. There's so many matches which has been surviving with 12 points which I've seen. With 12 points people are running here and there. No, it can't be matched, it can't be matched. I've seen the marriages happen before me and is successfully running with successful children, everything, with 12 points also. Because all other points in the horoscopes are well matched, so that you could able to see the life in its right perspective. So quota match is one part of the matching. Don't take the quotas as the final one, as most of the astrologers without knowing much of it will use it, because nowadays with computers coming in, all these things coming in, with the click button you will get the number. Nowadays even the cells are also useful. Cell may be aa jata hai, then immediately say not match, not match. So this is not correct. So these things, I have completed my explanation of this marriage in general. And the broad principles which you have to see is basically natal horoscopic principles, which is basically your dasha pattern, your bank balance. uh, your bank balance is your natal horoscopic principles. Next one is dasha, your checkbook, and the transits are the checkbook signing authority when you get the results. So with this broad aspects covering the marriage, I hope that I could able to share what I know a little. I am a student of astrology and trying to learn, and it's a big ocean. It's an ocean of ocean, and the entire life of one's human being is not sufficient to learn all these things. But with the grace of God, with the grace of gurus, we could able to pick up certain points. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And if any questions are there, I'd like to answer you, if at all. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Vishwanath. Thank you, sir. Rangacharya,
Thank you, sir.
pranam, everyone, pranam.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Mm, there is. Would you like to take up a couple of questions?
Yeah, a couple of questions I'll answer.
Okay, sir. One I'm displaying on the screen.
Yeah.
Mars and Venus in the first house for Cancer ascendant. Whether it amounts to the question, I think, if my knowledge goes correct, it amounts to a Mangala dosha. So that's what the question seemed to be.
I have explained you what is a Mangala dosha. If it is purely Mangala dosha without having any nullification factors, without any benefic factors, the troubles will be more.
Okay, sir. There is one more question. If the I'll display on the screen. If Mars and Jupiter in conjunction, then Mangal dosha will be cancelled. That is the question.
Yeah, it is cancelled. Jupiter aspect on Mars will sprinkle Ganga Jal on Mars. The fire of Mars is extinguished.
So, thank you, sir. No, I think with all, I think all other, okay. Okay, there is one question. This is from Rajiv Kumar Jha. Ketu in 7th house of Karaka, Karaka Lagna, Kundali. Whether it, no, what is the impact of it? No, that is the question. Yes.
Normally, wife is deceased, spouse is deceased. Is some problem, phobias, health problem. But I
Okay.
don't want to answer the individual questions, individual horoscopes.
Yeah, without,
It's
I
an
think,
individual
we need to
horoscope.
see, holistically in those
Yeah,
matters.
holistically it must be seen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, any other questions? You
Any
know,
other, let them post to you. You please pass it
yeah,
on to me. I'll answer on mail.
sure, sir. Sure.
Generic
Sure.
questions, if you have any generic questions, I'll answer, not the specific questions of one specific horoscope.
Yes, sir. So, thank you very much for enlightening us on different parameters of the marriage matching. You have thrown light on the timing of the marriage based on different parameters. You also enlightened us about Mangal dosha and positive, especially the positive side of the Mangal dosha. So normally we have a tendency to overlook it. So that is you have very rightfully highlighted that, and you also highlighted that the kuja only the kuta matching or guna matching is not sufficient to come to a conclusion in marriage matching. Thank you for great insight and your valuable time. So thank you on behalf of ICAS. Thank you
Thank you very
very
much. Thank you. Thank you.